Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. Apologize for the delays, but we're live now with the video. Guys, this has been one hell of a shitstorm, and it's pretty crazy to see a protocol like Renzo go from being like, I don't want to say middle of the pack, but go from being something that we somewhat trusted to honestly, like, I don't think they are ever going to get back to where they were regardless of anything that they do. And honestly, they probably wish that they could turn back the clock and go back at least 24 hours because this has not been good. The transparency has been terrible. The team's communication has been terrible. They've done nothing yet of substance. And their incompetence has cost people millions of dollars. And you know what? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. And let's get into it. So, with that being said, nothing I say here is financial advice. Please do your own research and you got to do your own sort of thought process before making any decisions. So, as always, I'll remind you guys that we do have the Web3 Secret Society. It's a special group. If you want extra coaching, guidance, and support, the real value proposition is that you actually qualify for airdrops. You actually learn something, so you don't need the group in the future potentially. You get more crypto-related opportunities, and it simplifies your process. So you can lock it in until the end of April at $20 a month. Starting in May, it will be $60 a month. This will be to curb the amount of people who are part of this community. And I likely will not be talking about it as much. I know a lot of people will be coming to me saying, oh my God, like, why didn't I know about this? It's too late, blah, blah, blah. No exceptions. That's what's going to happen going forward. So the first thing and probably the most impactful image I have on this, I mean, I don't have an image of liquidations, but at some point last night, if you were on Uniswap and you wanted to swap out your Renzo ETH, you got you lost 70% of its value. But before we even get there, let's like rewind 24 hours. Now, let's just talk about what happened? How did we get here? So this all starts with Eigenlayer. Eigenlayer is likely the biggest narrative in this bull cycle. It has a lot to do with restaking. It has a lot to do with empowering the Ethereum networks, really powering the decentralized applications, because as you know, you're only as good in security as your weakest link. And Ethereum has a sort of layer of protection to sort of support the AVS, which in the past did not have that support here. So this happened and basically supports a ton of decentralized applications. I won't go into all the details. Maybe that's another video. And a lot of us were sitting here trying to grind, getting a ton of Eigenlayer points because, you know what, let's just be straight up here. No one wants to miss out on that. It seems like a fantastic passive opportunity to earn a bunch of points. We've seen protocols come around offering a ton of great stuff. The best one, obviously, so far has been EtherFi. I actually was in Swell for the majority of it. I have reallocated a lot of my portfolio as such to EtherFi, but apparently any idiot can put together a staking protocol because somehow Renzo ended up on that list. There's literally a never-ending list of these service providers that have these tokens. If we go to Zirkit, you can see here some of the examples. You can see here I no longer have any Renzo in here. We'll talk about what happened. But basically, you can get Renzo, EtherFi, Kelp, Athena, EigenPi, Stakestone, Lido. I think there's Puff and some other stuff here as well. So basically, there's a ton of options. So all of a sudden, we're stuck here trying to figure out, okay, well, which ones do we want to select? How do we know what the best option is? And typically, people have picked one or two of those options. Sometimes you go heavy in one and you get exposure to the others. I know in the past I've talked about this. And, we were all doing this. We're not altruistic. We're not doing this for no reason. We're doing this to get an airdrop. And Renzo gave us an update on that airdrop yesterday. They had told us that April 30th was going to be the end of the season 1 of their campaign. Little did they know that this would be the end of their entire protocol as we know it. So they started off here talking about how they would give the community 5% of the tokens, and at least for season 1. So like, they gave some kind of good details, some things that I thought were nice. 50% linear vest over 6 months. We would get our claims on May 2nd. Top 10 DeFi protocol by TVL. Of course, people want to put this in here to get money. Like, it's not like are you surprised? It's like saying you got so many friends, but you're also giving every one of your friends a PlayStation. And then you're like, yo, I got more friends than anyone else. It's like, yeah, but like, I mean, well, let's be real here. Why do you think that's the case? So then what happened is Renzo had posted a bigger document sharing the details of their launch. And in this launch, we got a little more details on exactly what was going on. And this is where things started to unravel. So we know here about the claim, which I thought was positive. Some more information here. The distribution, the top 5% wallets. So that was the clarity we wanted. So like, because we had no idea what big or small was. Well, 2% of the initial 5% airdrop is going to NFT communities, My Lady Maker and She's a Posters, whatever. But here is where we get to the bad part. So it's just the manipulation on how these charts look. In fact, this chart didn't even have 31.56 like this. It looked a little different. They've been manipulating this chart this whole time. Like literally, if you go in here, like you can see earlier renditions of this chart. This team just makes changes, does not communicate. Like they definitely changed it because they got feedback around like the size of the imagery. We'll forever call this Pi Gate, for example. And they basically said like, like I said, it's not a problem exactly how you split it. It's just the visuals, right? But basically 5% was going to the actual community for that specific airdrop for season 1. So, people were talking about this, like they got really clowned on, right? Like Renzo Protocol really tweeted a distribution chart like this and thought we wouldn't notice. And, like obviously there's some frustration going through all of this. Probably one of the biggest ones is Binance launch pool. In fact, I saw this in the Discord a ton yesterday. Basically, what would happen is you would, as somebody who's been in this protocol for months, providing liquidity, Binance was getting 2.5%, and they're able to sell on you before we are. And they just showed up. They're just there for a couple of days. So people were really upset about this because obviously, like, why does Binance get just to come in, do nothing, and get to offer their people that? Sounds like a way better deal than those who were actually contributing through the Renzo Easy Points campaign, which clearly is not easy at all, right? I also don't like this fact the remainder of the allocation will be used for various community campaigns, right? So second season, sure. But all these other initiatives, this is kind of like the Manta playbook once again, which is obviously not good. So what happened was clearly there was some people who disagreed. They were not happy. Very controversial, right? Let's just say that. And they were talking in the Discord and people got kicked. People got muted. They were like, hey, anything you do here is FUD, FUD, FUD. Like, it must be nice to be able to just, if anyone criticizes you, FUD. Like it reminds me of the episode of Seinfeld where his uncle, if you said anything negative about what was going on, you must be an anti-Semite. It was like it was a running joke, right, that they used, and it was just like Jerry could bring it up. Oh, you don't like this, that, right? So it's the same thing in crypto. Anytime you just don't like the feedback, it's fine. It doesn't matter how real it is. Now, what happened over the next couple hours, and I remember, and this part I don't have as many graphics for, but I was at the gym. And when I'm at the gym, I got a message around probably 11 o'clock. I was doing some in-kind bench press, and I got texted this image. I'm like, wait, what is this? And I'm like, I got told that just take a look at the bottom here. Look at the DPEG, right? At this point, this is when it just started. This caused a massive reverberation. And what happened? Right? So I'm telling you, I'm like benching, I'm benching 185 incline Smith machine. Not very strong lift by any means. Preparing for Vegas, right? Get this message, and I'm like, wait, what? And remember, guys, I am not deep into Renzo. I thought I only had 2 ETH in Renzo. And turns out I had 4. I had 4 ETH in Renzo, 2 in Pendle, 2 in Circuit. I had no idea until I had to deal with it. But I was like, oh my God. Whenever these DPEGs happen, right? Like for those of you who've been there with Luna and other things like that, it's not a good experience, right? If you've lived through it, you are like trying to mitigate or hedge or anything like that. So what happened, right, was I literally just dropped everything. Obviously not the weights, thank God for the Smith machine. Got out of there, told the group, hey, look, we're going to do an emergency show. I'm going to come home. We're going to do an emergency live stream. We're going to handle this. We're going to go through all this. We're going to go in the Discord. We're going to figure this out. Ironically, I got like very little sleep because I think the live stream was an hour and a half doing this in the middle of the night to make sure that we were all good, addressing any questions. And honestly, like, you know, part of all this that I want to say is like, this is one of the biggest benefits of having a community is literally being able to do that, right? Like being able to doesn't matter if it's a Web3 secret society, but you want people you can talk to at a moment's notice. Like this is a massive event, almost like a black swan event in my mind. Not, thank God it was controlled, but like this is when you definitely need your community. And that's why I was like, yo, we're gonna do that stuff right now. Now, just taking a look at TVL. Now, this is probably the biggest issue. And we've talked about this before with Blast. You guys remember with Blast, I was very clear. I did not like what they were doing, right? Like Blast, I thought it was very unethical. I thought they were trying to hide a lot of what was going on. And remember, guys, you have to think of what a protocol cares about. Like I don't work for Renzo. I've never been involved in any of their meetings, so I can only speculate as to what's going on. But every one of these protocols cares about that number that you see right here, right? 3.193. So what'll happen is when you look at this, number one, obviously the value is spread across different chains, with ETH mainnet being the biggest of them all. Now, if you have, like, let's say you have your Easy ETH token, right? They don't want people to get rid of their Easy ETH token. They just don't want to. Like typically, some protocols like ETHify and now Swell allow you to redeem your token and swap it directly back into your native Ethereum token. So you can swap SWETH to ETH. You can swap ETH to ETH. What will happen is they basically did not want people to do this. And the reason for that is that would bring their TVL down. They wanted people, they want to artificially inflate their TVL numbers, and they do not want people swapping out of it. So if you held Easy ETH, the only way you could get your ETH back was through the DEX. And this was done deliberately because by doing that, there's still Easy ETH out there. It's still the same total value locked. We keep the value up. It's fantastic. No problems. Oh no, people still love this thing. But what happens when that happens? What happens when that goes on? Well, at a DEX level, if people are leaving and you're giving ETH, who's the sucker that wants to hold Easy ETH over ETH? As they sell off, the value, that discrepancy gets worse and worse and worse, which is why you see what happened last night at DPEG. Because, you know, if you had a traditional mechanism where because it's not like they don't have the funds, right? That'd be another problem. But if they had just the funds, hey, you can just do easy swap, it would 100% be regulated, right? Like if you have ETH for that, you're good. The only challenge there would be if you don't have enough ETH on the various chains. But I mean, that is definitely much easier to handle. What we saw was a bank run that got worse really fast in a very quick succession because people got worried. So people were swapping out. Now, when you are in the middle of this, the last thing you should be doing is going through DEXs. So let me sort of explain exactly what happened now. So because this lever was not available, this lever to alleviate, right? Because if, for example, you could swap that for ETH to ETH, or sorry, you can swap Easy ETH to ETH. If it ever got close to depegging, there would be massive opportunity for arbitrage traders to just go in there, buy it, sell it right away, and get the money. This is why these opportunities never exist with ETHify, with Swell, and stuff like that. And because they didn't want to do this, because the way they ran their program here is not good, this is an issue. The second part of this is they also said that they weren't going to do this until season 2 at some point. No clarity. So when people started selling off, initially it wasn't that bad, but as big people left as a result of their communication around the airdrop and saying, hey, we're almost at the end, right? April 26th was the cutoff, or April 26th. I said, okay, we'll take the money, we'll get out of here. More people started doing that, and that's when the depegging started happening. And this is probably the biggest problem for a couple of reasons. Number one, these programs will always brag about how you can now take our money, you can take our token and lend it and go and loop it and do all these things. And you know what happened when these looping strategies happen? So if you're on zero lend or other protocols, you lend against it, you borrow, you lend, you borrow, you lend, you borrow. Well, unfortunately, millions and millions and millions of dollars were liquidated over like in a second, because when the depeg happened, you got this bank run on these chains, regardless of whether or not the team had the funds behind it, and people lost a ton of money. So that was the first sort of milestone last night. And who went into Discord? And I see Zan talking about this. Discord, absolutely chaos. Should have seen it last night when people who lost 20, 30 ETH went in there and they were furious. And you know what? The team did a fantastic job. No, who am I kidding? No, they didn't. What did they do? They decided, we are going to not address any concerns. We are going to pretend like all of this is FUD, and that's all fake. If you lost money on liquidations, it's because you clearly took too much risk and you shouldn't have done this. I don't know why you did this. And I think you guys are talking too much. I'm going to block your access for 30 minutes. So they were kicking people first for a bit. And then they said, hey, you know what? There's too many people. We're just going to time people out every 30 minutes. So 30 minutes, they're sitting here timing people out, not answering any questions, telling people, hey, you know what? Like, this is the worst way you can handle these things. When communications like this happen, I'll give you an example. I was in DeFi Kingdoms when there was allegations of one of the founders funneling and stealing money, and the team refused to comment or answer for half a day. And obviously the token just sold off like 90%. And while we're sitting here, they still have not recovered. That team has not recovered because of the stuff they did. These things are super important because people will always remember. I will never forget Renzo, and I will never let you guys forget Renzo either. I don't care what they do. At this point, whatever they do is just to appease people, because their VCs are up. If I'm their VC, if I funded and supported these bumbling idiots, I would be furious at how incompetent they are. To date, they have still not posted an announcement. I was going in there for every half an hour posting, and you know what they did? They're like, you know what? People are talking too much. We're going to do this now for every hour. And it's just completely absurd. And this just got worse and worse and worse. So now, and this is from basically half an hour ago, people are now copying and pasting the same image. And you can see in the bottom here, 59 minutes and 51 seconds. This is my my delay. And they're saying the exact same thing, right? As a community member, I hate to see you guys throw away your brand reputation. I lost a lot of money in liquidations last night because of their actions and inactions, and my choice to use partner protocols to leverage and assume risk that the team wouldn't allow easy to peg that bad. You guys really have one step. Honestly, they have no chance. I don't know why they're saying this. This is a bunch of lies. There's zero chance. I'm going to be straight up with you. If you guys are stupid enough to let them put on a show and let them trick you again, I mean, honestly, it's that old adage, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Do not, you should never trust these people again. This is like having somebody like you date cheat on you and go, yeah, no, it's okay. They feel bad. They made up for it, you know? No, don't ever do that. Don't ever be don't ever have solo respect for yourself and your money to let yourself put up for what they did. They are not, these people are not good people. Like, straight up, look at this, man. Look at this stuff. Like, people are just want to get paid off and say, oh yeah, give me, step up, communicate, fix the bad terms, like what, giving 1 or 2% is going to give you something where you think you can trust. You think you can trust these people? I would never want to have my tokens in here. I know I'm seeing some questions on what you should do. Listen, I'm going to talk about what I did. And listen, there is not a right answer to this. And this is the hardest part about it, because even in the private Discord, when people are asking me these questions on, hey, should I buy, should I sell, whatever, blah, 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 I'm going to look, let me just explain to you what the pros and cons are. This is your own decision to make. I'm going to tell you what decision I did or what decision I'm doing and why. So we'll talk about that in a second. This is also why, guys, like, you want to make sure that, like, you have all the facts, right? And number one, the most important fact was when people wanted to sell, originally, some of the mods that were not informed properly. So they were saying, hey, if you sell, you're out. If you sell, you have zero of the airdrop, because that was the original document. The original document said, if you sold any of your easy ETH, doesn't matter how much easy points you got zero. As of yesterday's announcement with the airdrop, and they've updated the FAQ, If you sell your ETH before the snapshot, you're still eligible. It's based on your easy points, so there's not a criteria. I know EtherFi is trying to make sure people can't game it with their stake friends, stake rank, and all that by allowing you to go in there. You know what I mean? So that's sort of the issue. And by the way, guys, I will answer some questions after, so we will get there. And this is probably the worst part about this. When this is going on, Renzo is sitting here and they're like, "Oh yeah, here, like this is during the DPEG, 2:57 a.m. last night. Oh yeah, no, we're not going to address what's happening. It's all fine. None of this is real." They're literally pretending this wasn't happening. And meanwhile, they're posting about how great. Oh, this is some great stuff. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's so good. It got so bad that EtherFi, like, imagine you are the competitor of this, and you're like, these idiots are going to give a negative image to the space. We are going to have to host our own thing to let people know exactly what's going on and how to do things. So there is an entire post here that I will link below. Sorry, I didn't have time to do that. So guys, you won't see any links right now, but I will in the next, as soon as this video is over, I will copy and paste all this over. It is definitely a very worthwhile read, and you should sort of know this. They did talk about things like withdrawals have been enabled since day one and all that. What I think was very interesting too, if we go to EtherFi, it looked like so many LRT protocols came by. They said, join us in 50 minutes. Attendance from Swell, Kelp, Instead App, Arrington, and others confirmed. Imagine, but wait, what about Renzo? Renzo did post on here, but wait a second. It wasn't Renzo. It was a scammer. Renzo didn't want to interact with anything, but the scammers did. Like, what does that tell you about how poor these people are? This happened about 17 hours ago, and we still have not seen an announcement. I'm gonna see if I can find this as well. So this is also hilarious. In yesterday's live stream we did with the community, I talked about I hope EtherFi clowns on Renzo the way that like Jumper did with Polyhedra, right? They said it would be the end game and all that stuff. Well, EtherFi should have added excellent pie chart skills, right? Referring back to some of the things that we saw over here. So I'm always about that. It's always hilarious. And the sad part, right, is we're still like 17 hours apart and nothing has happened. So a couple things. Number one, there are some pools expiring in Pendle. So if you're on Pendle, the easiest thing you could have done, and for me, on Pendle, the arbitrage for getting out yesterday wasn't that bad. So I was able to just go to the pool. So if I'm on Arbitrum, I go to the Renzo pool here. It would have let me. I would have went to app. Sorry, I would have went to dashboard, and I would have just zapped out of whatever position. So let's say I'm in this. I'm in YT. Sorry, I'm in LP. I'm here. I can go zap out, pick the amount, and get something. I think it was a very small price to pay versus some others. If you listen to the actual mods on the Discord, they would tell you to just go to this website and just pick one. And this is also irresponsible because, I talked, Fluke commented on my post yesterday when I said the same thing. Directing people to go in there and, make swaps at a DPEG and lose a ton of resources is a really irresponsible thing. They linked people to a protocol called Nile. Where is it? It's probably here somewhere. And Nile had a 40% loss if you did it on Linea. So it was terrible. So one of the things we were doing on the live stream was opening up DEXs. So I'll show you this one. Thruster was the one that had the least slippage or least impact, but it's obviously on blast, which is probably the biggest issue I have. As you know, there's a 2.3% market maker fee to exit, and this is also once again done to dissuade people from taking your money off the network. Because all these protocols, like, it's funny, we talked about people protocols farming people. Now they're even like charging you. Like I gave the example of somebody corrected me, it was vector marketing, and you as the customer, like you are their business model. You come on here and they're like, yeah, let me tax your money, let me take 2.3% of your dollars, let me do all this stuff. Like points. How about some gold? Is the gold okay? Is it nice? So we go to swap here, right? And what you want to do, if you don't, some protocols you won't be able to find it, but this one, they have easy ETH. And what you do, and I recommend you do this on all protocols, you go in here, you type it in. Oh, wow. So this one has dropped. Yesterday, this was 0.997. Okay. So there isn't. So what I would recommend you do, go find out where, it doesn't matter what protocol, what network it's on, unless it's Blast. Maybe Mode because it's a slight payment, but you want to go check what the liquidity exists on all of these. This was actually a way better thing to do yesterday, because obviously as time goes on, there will be some people who will take the risk, right? So there will be some whales who go out there and say, hey, let me go in there and let me buy these things. Let me buy the easy ETH. And hopefully they don't go bust, because then you could actually go in and buy something. So let's say yesterday you're on Uniswap and you paid 0.3 for the easy ETH, right? Well, if easy ETH allows you to repeg, great. But we don't know how long that's going to be, and we don't know if that's going to happen. Remember, these guys have done nothing, right? They have literally done the equivalent of some Ponzi scheme thing where they haven't responded. So it depends on your level of risk tolerance. I personally don't have that. I don't have that level of risk tolerance where I will just see something go down 30, 70% and get in. This happens a lot with bridges too. When bridges get hacked, I remember when Harmony's bridge got hacked, people were gambling on this and then it never got paid back. The DPEG got worse. So like they lost a ton of money. So you can do this. You can definitely go in there and say, hey, let me get a good opportunity. Right now, we're like anywhere in the 90s is sort of that weird spot, right? Because you're like, I don't know if I want to pay that much to get that. But like at the depths of the fear, you could definitely do it, right? So, some people who bought it at Uniswap, I don't know if you could actually have bought it there. I never did the reverse. So like maybe you couldn't just pay 0.3 for one easy ETH, but only the other way around was the issue. Because usually it's not that great, right? Price impact luckily is not good on one side, but on the other one may still not be that great of an opportunity, right? So that's one thing you can consider doing. I personally, that's not for me. Now, here's the thing. Thankfully, we got this addressed with this snapshot. So regardless of what you do, your airdrop's not impacted. I mean, it is impacted in the sense that after all this, I would never hold this stupid token, and I would expect that a lot of people would dump this right away. So this token, in my mind, is effectively dead. Hopefully, there are some people who are not watching this video who will, buy into the Kool-Aid or whatever, who will think this token is going to be the next big thing. Hopefully there's enough of them that I can sell them this, and you guys can sell them this too. I personally don't think it's a good idea to have this token. This is going to drop worse than any of the other ones have on launch, in my opinion. But if you are sitting there and you have a position in Renzo, okay, so here's what I want you to think about. It's really a balancing act, okay? And if you're in that sweet spot, you got to ask yourself, okay, do I want to risk this potentially going belly up? Because like I said, there's no guarantees in any of this. So if they go belly up, then your ETH becomes zero. What's the chance of that happening? I have no idea. I can't predict that. I mean, it would be way better if they had given some communication, at least lie to us, right? They haven't even done that. So what does that tell you? Maybe they're just very dishonest thieves. Very honest thieves. They don't know how to lie to us. They don't know how to tell us, things are going to be great when they're not. But they've had 17 hours, and I asked them at 1 a.m. yesterday Eastern. It's now 4:45 p.m. the next day Eastern, or sorry, the same day. I asked them, hey, like, where's the announcement? What's going on? They're like, oh, we're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it. The team is getting to it. We're going to have it right up right now. And remember, I get to ask them this question every hour, right? Because they don't want people talking. A protocol that censors people who talk, kicks people who have dissenting voices, who literally pretends like things aren't happening and avoids. This is not a protocol that I want to be part of. And this protocol makes me feel uneasy. It made me feel uneasy to have 2 Ethereum in them. You should have seen how I felt when I had 4 Ethereum plus a bit of YT position in that. I closed every single one of it. And the reason I closed it was I'm like, let me take the 2% loss. Let me just pretend I am on, what's it called? Let me pretend I am on Blast, for example. It's the exact same situation I was with them then when I was trying to bridge out. I'll just take the 2% loss and not have to worry, peace of mind. This would be a much harder decision the higher that loss would have been. If it's 5 or 10%, I don't know. Like I said, it's tough. at first I did half of it, and then I was like, oh, you know what? I want to rip the band-aid off. I just want to do it, and not. I don't want to wake up being anxious that my money went to zero in Renzo. And I'm like, you know what? If I do it this way, I can take this money and put it into Pendle, which is what I did, and I put it into Pendle, and for the most part, I split it on some of the newer pools that they have. So if I go to points trading and go to Ethereum mainnet, I mentioned this protocol, right? 331 that ends June 26th. I had put the money in here. I put 2 ETH here, and I put 2 ETH in one of the Arbitrum pools because I had bridged it that way. So that's my coverage there, and that sort of was like, okay, you know what? Not ideal. Sucks obviously to lose some funds, but hey, lesson learned. And the lesson learned here is, remember, we have to like be very cognizant of where we put our money. There's risk in DeFi is such a dangerous thing, right? People will market DeFi as, oh, it's so great, you can make so much money. You know how easy it is to lose money even when you do everything right? Imagine you did everything right and you still lost money. This is why, like, you should see the comments on YouTube when I posted my borrowing strategy. And they're like, this guy, he's leaving all this money on the table. He has a health score of like 7 or 8. And they're like, you should just go down 1.2. Yeah, if I was stupid enough to go to 1.2, I would have lost all the ETH that I had in Renzo yesterday. And what, that person who commented is going to make me whole? No, of course not. These people just are degenerate. They don't care. They don't understand what the levels of risk are. Don't care what people tell me. I don't care when the protocol gives me these options. I will not take things that are going to make it so that the worst case scenario is like Armageddon. I don't want that happening ever, because the upside on DeFi, especially right now, there's no upside that will make up for things like this. Like, we don't even have dumb money in the space yet. So if you're going here and you're burning your money, allowing protocols to steal from you, allowing protocols to tax you heavily, allowing protocols to like take your money hostage, right? I mean, like, it's so hard to like make it that way, right? And that's why it's so important. I'll be honest with you guys, like, I posted something about a protocol basically saying, hey, I know this is not your the kind of thing you talk about on YouTube, but could you please cover this? And I said, hey, respectfully, I appreciate you offering me 0.2 ETH for doing that, like with some NFT, but like, I don't want to do that stuff. And I get these offers all the time. I get them all the time, and people constantly want me to do this, and they're doing it because my brand value is very unique in the sense that I don't shill stuff. I don't shill stuff because I don't like. Sorry, when I shill things, ironically, the things I've shilled the most, I don't get anything for. EtherFi, what am I getting for? Even like let's be honest here, the referral links for EtherFi, I've actually like almost like effectively neutered them, because I tell people that Pendles has just been a way better solution for me, right? So like, if you just take a look, right, I got like 6 million in EtherFi points. I got 43,000 referral points. Why? Because everyone who wants to use my link, I'm like, yo, just go to Pendle. Like, I don't get referral points if you guys go to Pendle, but I think that's just a way better option, right? Because you get this like stake rank boost of like whatever 2x, and you get others. None of the other people who do these videos care about you. Like, I've told you guys this so many times. They don't care about you. You guys are just another way for them to increase their bag, whether it's through crypto referrals, whether it's through crypto referrals, whether it's through them selling services a protocol has, right? Like, honestly, guys, I could show you so many offers that I'm getting where they're asking me, oh, can you make a proposal? We'll give you thousands of dollars for a sponsored video. And I don't want to do that, right? Most recently, I had Demex Exchange ask me, they wanted to pay me to do a video. And honestly, so if you see a Demex video coming up from one of your favorite influencers, well, guess what that means? It means they got paid off. I won't do it. I just won't do it. Like, this is why, like, when people go, oh, like, how come you charge for the Web3 Secret Society? Well, number one, I want to keep utmost quality. I don't know I'm sure there are people in the chat here who are from there. I'm sure they can tell you how seriously I take that group. Like, I'm telling you guys, I woke up for a 6 a.m. meeting, and I was up till like 2:30, 3 a.m. with them to make sure everything was good. And I'm always trying to be in there as much as possible to provide value. And this is at $20 a month. You know what I'm saying? So like, look at all the other crypto groups where they charge $200 and never show up. I've been part of those groups. They're completely useless. And it also makes it so there's like a price point where you don't get rid of people, but you also like have this spot where people can afford that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's sort of that like middle ground where you're like, hey, I want to support you guys, but I don't want to just open it up where people just come in here and spam. Last cycle, I had that group. Some people who are in the Web3 Secret Society were part of that group last year where we made a ton of money, but spammers would come, scammers would come. And I'm sitting here like, honestly, how exactly are we going to get into the spot where I can just get in there and protect you guys? Because honestly, when that was the case and I did it on the side, I just got in there whenever I could. I still try to do it, but then there were times where I'm like, it's just not like I have to like focus on things for me as well. Now, that all being said, guys, it's super important that you realize that for the majority of you, the people you watch will consider and they will look at you as somebody that they think that they can earn from. That's what they call monetizing your audience. So please just be on the lookout for that. Every single time, you guys have given me these opportunities, I give back in referrals. I give back in so many spots. Why? Because I don't view you guys that way. I view you guys as a community, right? Like I said, I'm still here to support on YouTube. We're going to do once a week AMAs when possible here, but the majority of my time has to be dedicated to that group because work is pretty stressful. There's a lot of things going on that I've got to take care of. And I will make these videos because I think it is very important for Renzo and things like, I wish I didn't have to make this video. Renzo really screwed it up. They screwed up big time. Like, I think this thumbnail really kind of summarized it, right? Like, literally people are sitting there and like complaining, saying what's going on. They're like, listen, it's all fun. It's not real. It's not real. And the other protocols are coming in and saying, like, they're just looking at them going, what are you doing? Like you're going to ruin this for all of us. Because remember, none of people always think that they're giving us value. No, they're getting so much more from them. The fact that they can do this and give us something back, just think about how profitable what they're doing is. And Renzo is so stupid that they're willing to throw all of that away just because they think so little of the crypto community. That they are basically, you guys are just basically pay pigs to them effectively, right? That's what you guys are. So when the stuff happens, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you whatever. If you saw some of the messages that were shared in that Discord yesterday, scroll up. If you go to their Discord and you're able to scroll up to 1 or 2 or 3 a.m. Eastern, and it won't be that hard because they limited how many people could talk in there, you will see them basically lambast people for taking on risk, for being irresponsible. But, I don't know why you did that. And then they would send their copy and paste message of, if you want to get rid of it, go on your decks. My question to you guys, by the way, Muna, you don't have to. So if you are on Easy ETH, what you should do from Pendle, by the way, like I said, vet how much the value is. Don't just get out. Go in and swap not from Easy ETH to ETH because that gets canceled. Do it to USDC. That's how I was able to get out. And I think on, I think I paid $70 for that specific one for 2 Ethereum. That was the cost to me from what the actual ETH was worth at the time, which was like 3,200 each or 3,240 each or something like that. So like I said, it may have gotten worse because as the time goes on, some of these other places like where it's not this like 70% drop on Uniswap anymore, but the other ones where it was like 1 or 2%, it may have gone down to 5 or 6%. I don't know. And before you make that decision, ask yourself, am I okay waiting and hoping that this stays and I'm able to just swap out later, they'll repeg it? That could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen. It's probably over 50%. But like, you've got to decide that for yourself. I don't want to personally tell you because I can't see what's going to happen in the future. I don't want to tell you, hey, swap out at a 3% loss or something, and then 2 weeks later they repeg it and they're like, the brown gent told me to do this. I don't, like I said, I do not know the answer. You guys got to look at the pros and the cons. There is no right answer for this. The answer is whatever makes you comfortable and whatever outcome you're okay with. For me, I was okay with losing like 2-ish% or whatever. So I said, forget it, fine. I'll lose 2% and I'm just going to like have peace of mind and I'm going to earn it back. I'm going to earn it back this way. So be it. And I will never use Renzo again. I will dump their token and I will never support them. I will not allow, and this is why I made this video, I will not allow them to get out of this way. Yeah, so Muna, I just said that. So you have to use Easy ETH and you have to pick a different final token. So when I did it yesterday, it would not let me go Easy ETH to ETH. It allowed me to go Easy ETH to USDC. There are a bunch of different tokens you can use. And then I went and used that USDC in the Arbitrum pool. I zapped in USDC and converted it directly to, I think it was ETH or WETH or whatever in their LP. That's sort of what I chose to do, right? So yeah, guys, like I said, obviously this is not a positive kind of video to have. I wish, there's things that, we could definitely do better. like that's basically it. Black Man, why not wait until tomorrow when Easy ETH will mature on Pendle so you can get at least a whole stake? Like I said, these are options everyone has. There's no guarantee on any of these things. The Blago, like I said, this is definitely an option. This is some of the things we talked about. So there is a maturity on Pendle, right? But when the maturity on Pendle happens, you're supposed to get the Easy ETH back. It depends if you're on, are you in PT or are you in LP? Which one are you on, right? Because it really depends on which token you get. Now, how much is that going to be worth at the time? How much are they going to give you? Because remember, Pendle is not taking the loss. Pendle will not take that loss. It's going to be on you guys. In fact, one of the biggest concern in that Discord right now is there's going to be a ton of sell pressure when these pools expire. And this is why I said to myself, like I said, everyone in the Discord is asking me, what do we do? I'm like, the people who are in here, right? Like Tuan was, I don't know if Tuan was in the conversation yesterday, but we had a bunch of people in the conversation yesterday where we're sitting here like, hey, like, there's no positive, there's no right answer. There's no definitively right answer, right? There's no definitive answer. It could get worse. It could get better. I don't know. For me, 2%, going to take 2%. And that was what it was. At 5%, thank God it's not 5% because I would have a much harder time making that decision. I wouldn't want to do it. And this is all about hedging. And it would be much easier if the team gave an announcement, but the team is still pretending that nothing is wrong. It's like that dog in the fire saying, oh, everything's fine. Nothing is fine. But they will not admit fault. It's sort of one of the things you learn. I heard from people who are politicians, you never apologize. You never apologize because if you apologize, you can't admit guilt. It can actually be used against you. You can be sued for that. So this is why, as much as possible, the team does not want to do that. They don't want to take any accountability for anything that's going on. And I wish they did, because the reality is it's a sort of idea on hedging. So if you guys are brave enough to hold, hey, I admire you. I'm just not, I don't have it in me to do that. I would be anxious. And yes, like for Ethereum, the long term is not going to matter, but I'm like, I mean, how much time have we spent doing airdrops? Like what airdrops are giving us $10,000 straight up like this without doing any work, right? The airdrops that I've got that like I've held on to, like Wormhole, Parcel, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they should have been like Wormhole was going to be massive and then like just sort of blew up, right? By holding on to it. So we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's in the future. But definitely, like I said, it's a decision you have to make. It's a decision only you can make because only you know what you're comfortable with. If you like, how's this? If you go away and you sort of leave it there and you're like, hey, I'm going to like, you know, I'm going to sleep on it. And then the whole time you're just thinking about it. You're anxious. Is your peace of mind worth like whatever that thing is, right? That's what I thought yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed and I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna be like, should I get out? And then I'm gonna be sitting there like sweating, refreshing the chart and sweating that I'm not down even more. I'm sweating it's not a 0%, like, or I'm not sweating it. I'm not at $0. These are the things I just did not want to get into. But yeah, and you know, one thing I will say here is, you know, thank you to all those in the group who've sort of talked about the Web3 Secret Society, right? We got Betty, we got Saroj, we got Rajan, right, in here, which is nice. Yeah, so we got Tuan in here as well. Yeah, wasn't in there last night. Upside is 2%. You don't lose 5. Yeah, sorry. Upside is you don't lose 5. You don't lose 5%. Downside you lose 100%. Yeah, I mean, you know what? The other thing is also how long is it, right? So if Easy ETH is depegged and they don't have the unstaking option, which is the most likely scenario, right? So it's a kind of risk analysis. You may have to hold on to it for much longer, and there are other opportunities that you won't get to get into. And that's how I saw it. For me, that was what pushed it over the edge. Was okay, well, I can just make more back with ETHify and using it somewhere else than waiting for this unstaking option to eventually come if they don't go under, right? Because there's still like a % chance they go under. I don't know what that percentage, but it's definitely over 0% for sure. Renzo name sounds scammy. I wish you told me this before, Haitian Buffet. PT Easy ETH is basically it's called principal token. So PT is principal token, YT is yield token, and LP is liquidity pool. PT means that you give up all of your point yield. So that means you don't get any eigenlayer points. You don't get, in this case, any Renzo points. And you get pure ETH. So if you get like, if you have 0.9 PT ETH or 0.9 ETH, and you started a pool, you likely get like 1 ETH by the maturity date. And the way they do it is they give you 1 PT ETH token, and at the maturity date, as we get closer to it, that PT ETH is equivalent to 1 ETH, and that's how they calculate it. YT is the opposite. Your ETH trends to 0, and you earn just the yield. So that's that. The YT and the PT are basically trading points for ETH with each other. LP is kind of in the middle. Renzo was also the only site where I couldn't see where I could withdraw. Yeah, so that's exactly why they do it. They don't have a withdrawal. They have a swap. You have to use a DEX, and because of that, somebody, when everyone's selling it, that's why one side gets so kind of imbalanced that you get the DPEG. Are they not a registered company? I don't know, but they have like investors. They have crypto. They have the VCs, right? The VCs are the ones that matter. Right, the VCs are the ones who are eventually going to tell them, like, what are you doing, you idiots? You're costing us all this money. Because imagine, who wants your token after that? Like I said, you'd have to be a fool to want that. Yeah, you can't, Tuan. That was fishy. Any airdrop with so much FUD. Yeah, this is horrible. It's horrible. Secret Society is the bomb. Thank you, Tuan. I put 2K on this crap project. I mean, on the bright side, you had ETH. You definitely want to sort of... Like I said, you've got to make that risk assessment for yourself. Sad for people who put really much more. There were people in there who were like very upset and being told, I can't believe you took all this risk. They lost 20 plus ETH. I don't know if they're lying. Who knows? But definitely we'll check it out. Mooner, what I would do, my recommendation, go to the Pendle Discord and ask them. I'm sure they're not happy with what's going on either. Find out what your options are. Like, say you can't zap out, ask them why. That's my recommendation. Join their Discord, Pendle. Do not go to Renzo's Discord. Don't waste your time. You can't send a message every hour. They will not help you. They will just tell you, oh, well, use this link, and they'll send you to something where you lose like 50%. Yeah. Did Renzo rug? I don't know if they rugged. I definitely used what's it called? I embellished on that a bit online because I wanted things to kind of go around. So I sent this message yesterday, and part of the reason I sent this message yesterday is I wanted this to get people talking more and making Renzo come back and say, no, this is not what happened, address it. They never did anything. Oscar, I can't explain it again. Please just kind of rewind and watch the start, because I go through step by step exactly it. I mean, let's be realistic here. If I did this for every person who came in, I would never get off. Just go to the start and watch at 1.5 major DPEG. If I swap my easy ETH back to ETH, how much will I lose, Dale? We covered this 20 minutes ago. You have to go in and check the various. If you log into Renzo, you go to DeFi and you check, go in and open up every single DEX and find the one that has the cheapest one. Avoid Blast because you'll lose 2.3%, Mode 0.6% on top. Check what it is, see if there's any opportunity. I think Uniswap is a 3% or 2.8% loss right now. You really got to check. At one point yesterday, it was a 66% loss for Uniswap. So you gotta be careful. 20 to 30%. No, Pinky, there's no way. I went to Uniswap. I went to Uniswap earlier, and it was not like that at all. So if we do this here, and this is on Arbitrum, let's check it out. One easy ETH will get you, right now it's 4.15. It's gotten worse. When I started the video, it was this was 97. So like I said, you can wait. You don't have to make a decision now. Think about it. Think about the risk. Think about what the hedge looks like, and then you can decide. I'm about to bring new ETH to ETHify. Would you out this into Zerk? So my friend MF, I'm glad you asked the question. You can go into Pendle, and if you put that on, this is the only time I'm going to recommend ETH mainnet. You select the ETH mainnet up here. So click this off and join this pool. ETH Zirkit, you get 3x, which is more than you get on any other Pendle pool. 3x for Zirkit, 1x eigenlayer, and there's no additional risk here. You just put it in the LP. Remember, anytime you use Pendle, there's smart contract risk and everything else like that. A few weeks ago, I went in with your ref with 400 in YTE Pendle, and since today, because of the maturity, everything is gone. I didn't realize it before, but I got 2 point. Raindrop, why did you go into YTE ETH? By the way, you couldn't have used my referral and gotten into Pendle. Only one of these works, right? So if you use my referral, you're in ETHify directly. If you use Pendle, you just used the link that was in Pendle. But I also explained to you in Pendle, here are your 3 options. I go through each one of these and say, do not touch YTE unless you exactly know what you're doing. And I mentioned this goes to 0. Like, I implore you to watch the video again, because I explained in that video why you should not touch this unless you know exactly what you're doing. Because there is a way to make money on this, but You have to know. And yes, you could trade your ETH for it, but like I wouldn't want 2.5 million either 5 points for 400. I mean, $400 I guess isn't the worst, but like, yeah, you've got to have that trade off. You also got the argument, which is good. What about Kelp DAO? I mean, Kelp DAO is probably just sitting here going, time to move up in the world because it is what it is, right? Like Kelp DAO, they're just sitting here and watching somebody like they were in like fourth or fifth place, and everyone else has a huge lead, and they just saw like thing just throw off themselves off a balcony, and they're like, okay, perfect, we're moving up in the world. Thanks, mate. You're a gem. You're not a problem. Only way to have even remotely any chance of eventually come back is to enable. There's no chance even that. Or they've got to like. It cannot just be this. They've got to reimburse the people who were liquidated. They've got to take care of the people who had to swap out of fear on this. It's not just enabling Binance withdrawal. It's not just decreasing Binance cut. Because now what I'd say is most people who got into Renzo would literally just have, like, they probably lost more on this than whatever airdrop they could have got. Let's just be straight up here, right, Vera? So these are some great moves. This is literally like somebody who has like a huge like gunshot wound and putting a bandage on it. Like that's what this will do at this point. It does nothing. Like you've got to go in and say, hey, we're going to reimburse everybody who's impacted because they know who it was. They know exactly what happened, right? They can track the wallet address. They can see all these things, right? Crypto allows them to do this, right? Would it be easy? No. Would it be really hard to go through and find a process? Of course. But this is what you got to do if you want to rebuild your brand. If you're going to come here and go, okay, maybe we shouldn't have pretended like nothing was wrong. Maybe we shouldn't have stopped people from talking and not allowing this thing. This is why, like, I have zero confidence, and I think there's a chance it goes to zero. I think there's a chance that Renzo just goes, hey, we're actually better off packing up and leaving and taking all our funds with us, and it doesn't matter. You know how crypto is. It takes forever to get anyone in anything. Best to get out of. Oh yeah, I mean, I closed mine. Like I said, Danny, I would watch the last 10 minutes. Ask yourself, what do you think? What do you think is best based on the pros, cons, etc. Can't zap out. You get a message that says error market liquidity. Yes, that's. I'm sorry to hear this happen to you, but I'm so glad I decided and made that move last night because I was like sitting here like, do I do it? Do I do it? Do I do it? If you guys are in the Web3 Secret Society, because we were talking about this. But Lunar, go talk to Pendle. There's zero chance that Pendle wants to have an issue happen with them. So send them that message and be like, I don't understand. I'm using your product. Why can't I swap? Like, this is mature. I want to go put in another product, and now you're telling me that I can't even get my token. What's going on? Question mark. Ask that stuff of them. Be very firm. Glad I caught this video. Yeah, so Celsius, this is exactly what it was. I was in Celsius before. I got almost all of it out before. Oh, sucks. 10%. Yikes. I'm so sorry to hear that. And I mean, this is also why, like, guys, like I've not slept. I've slept like 2.5 hours because of this. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't let anyone in our community and the Web3 Secret Society like sort of be like, what do I do here? Right? This is so important. What chain are you on? Yeah, thank you. Not a problem. Oh, I think you're saying thank you to Michael. But yeah, or Mooner, sorry. But yeah, for sure. Of course, refund is best, but you know how protocols are from implosions. Yeah, they're never going to refund. But look, if they're never going to refund you and they destroyed you, why would you think that this is going to be the solution? Right? Yes. Would it be nice to get more from the airdrop? Great. Most people are never going to be made whole. They're going to have walked away from Renzo having lost more than they gained. That's just a reality of it. So if that's the case, why exactly am I sitting here and going to be happy about this? I just won't be. You know what I'm saying? All good, bro. Yeah, not a problem. Is it okay to swap out our easy ETH? So you're not too late. I'll answer this question because it's easy to answer. They did make the update. If you sell your easy ETH before snapshot, you're still eligible, right? So it's based on the easy points. Like I screenshotted this. I've like pinned it in our Discord in case they delete this tweet later. So there's not like a whatever. We have the time, so we can go back in the Wayback Machine, and we can make sure that we get the clarity. Last night, people were sitting here not knowing what to do because this wasn't clear. Because their documents say the very opposite, and they say they're going to do something. So with that being said, guys, I got to run, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, like, don't just do what I did. I told you my thoughts. there is so much going on, and I totally agree with what Salventi is saying. This is what I say this, and I say this not to sort of show the Web3 secret society, but it's so important to have a group of people. Sal, one of the things I'm going to tell you, and I mean, I got tricked by this too, and I got out as soon as possible. But you need to go through and look at who you're following on Twitter, who you're following on YouTube, subscribing to. Look at the track record. Look at what they're actually doing. Are they selling you out? Are they? The reason you're finding rugs and scams and garbage is not because of you. It's nothing to do with you. You're not a stupid person. But what's happening is you're being told to go into these things. You're being shilled these opportunities. You're being said, oh, like, hey, go here, go do this, go do that, and because they don't care about you, right? I feel responsible because I made a video on this. I made a video on this because I was in it, right? Like, people ask me, why aren't you covering this? I won't cover things I don't know about that I'm not in. I just won't do it, right? So because I was in Renzo, I'm like, all right, let me talk about Renzo as a play to diversify from your other LRT. And the moment shit went down, number one thing I did was make sure that everyone who was in the Web3 Secret Society was good, and then went to bed for 3 hours, did my whole work day, and I literally scheduled this. So that's the reason this got delayed. I had a work meeting that went on a little longer. And the moment I could make a video to share with you guys, I did. Like, I still haven't slept yet. This is my fourth Red Bull in since 6 a.m. And I'm going to go to sleep right now. But guys, this is the first opportunity I had to make a video with you guys. And that's why I'm here doing that. None of these other guys, and maybe they will, I don't know, I can't speak for them. But straight up, these guys don't care about you. They get paid to tell you guys. So Sal, is not about this. You're probably best. And I would hate to see that happen to you. My recommendation is, you don't have to join any community, but stop following people who don't have your best interest at heart. People who are sending you into these there's a very well-known phenomenon that happens in LA. In LA, there's a ton of private poker games, and they give tons of money to people to bring new spots in the game, right? The new spots. And I remember this because there are people out there who have friends in the poker community, and they just send them to the worst games, the worst lineups, places where you don't even get paid when you win. There's all this bullshit, right? Can you imagine you play poker in a hard lineup, you win, and you don't get the money? This is the stuff that was happening in LA, and it's because people go, oh, I get $100 for bringing a new player. Same thing, Sal, what's going on with some of the people you follow on Twitter. There are a bunch of scumbags who will, not saying all of them are like this, but many of them will sit there and sell you out for some Ethereum, will sell you out for $1,000 to propose something, and it doesn't matter if it's going to help you or not, because it's going to help them, and they monetize you. You are the product. So they get you to lose your money, and that's why you're good. This is why, I see Randall says, testnet's so slow. You're right. Yeah, I was talking about testnets being the worst, and everyone's like, no. Well, guess what? You've seen how many testnets have actually paid. Chain is the only testnet that I'm still keep up to date on, and I think my network, but not really anymore. But every single one of them has really been a dumpster fire, right? Because once again, your time is your money too, right? So for me, this is why it's so important. The first thing I did when I created that group, right, the one that I keep bringing up, is so many people come in, spend 12 hours a day on crypto and end up losing money because they just do bullshit that goes nowhere, doesn't go anywhere, right? I want you guys to get back your time. I want you guys to actually qualify for airdrops. How many YouTubers told you, or even Twitter people told you about Gummy? I'm sure Crypto Banter did, but most of them hid the fact, found out after the fact that they were keeping it hidden so they got more allocation. Is that a nice thing to do? The moment I heard about it, I shared it with you guys. I told you on every single video. Doesn't matter if it comes at a cost to me. I did it. Same thing with staking Matic. How many times did I tell you guys, stake Matic? No one talked about it. And guess what? The Avail airdrop came out. Those who listened, all I saw in the comments was, oh my God, I did great. Those who didn't, those who watched some random YouTubers or random Twitter people and then saw that Avail had an airdrop, came here to just say it was a scam. Yeah, the only scam was you following these stupid people who don't have your best interest. And if you continue to do this, if you continue to support those people, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it because doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times they do this to you. No matter what they do, you're going to keep supporting them. Well, once again, who are you going to blame? You have to blame yourself at that point because they're only doing it because they get away with it. That's what most people will do, right? A lot of people in this plays are not good people. That's straight up. I don't know how to call out anyone specific. You guys know who I'm talking about. I've made tweets about them and things like that saying this is ridiculous. And, I don't like that stuff. People who sell stuff and then turn around and say it's garbage and it's a scam and whatever when they don't get what they want, right? You've really, really got to be careful. So, you have to definitely watch out and, try to de-risk as much as possible. Guys, I told you this before. You think the ETH I have on here is the only ETH I have? No. I'm not stupid enough to do that. Like I said, you have to make calculated bets and you have to be very careful on everything that you do, because if we survive, we will make a ton of money. So please be careful. Please be safe. Please curate the people you follow. It's really going to pay off in the long term. And then join a community. Whether Web3 Secret Society is a good one. You can make a community with your friends. If you have 3 friends, 4 friends, whatever, who are into crypto as much as you guys are, go in there and vet. Don't just listen to the nuance or the bullshit about people saying, oh yeah, this is a great protocol. Ask why. Keep asking why until they give you the real reason. Sometimes people just want to tell you to join something because they're in it, right? And that's how you can tell. Like when I see influencers or whatever come out there and they'll link you to things that they want you to do, and there's always like a referral thing, I'm like, that's why, like for Zora, when I tell you guys to mint Zora, straight up, I tell you guys every time I mint Zora, I'm going to put my referral link as default, but I want you to go in there and click this button and make it so that you get paid and not me. Do you think other influencers are spending 30 seconds or 20 seconds to tell you that, killing into their watch time kind of metric because it hurts and doing that? No, they definitely won't do that. Why? Because they get money. And also why add 20 seconds? It doesn't give them more money to the video, right? That's what the thing is. So, and Randall, exactly. The Veil testnet is one of the worst ones. The Eclipse testnet is also terrible. I'm not doing it. They may pay off. But you know what? Celestia and Eigenlayer are rewarded. So that's how I'm putting my bets there. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We went on for an hour. Like the video, share the video. Like, let's make sure that we make a lot of noise about this. Hopefully, Renzo comes out and says something, because honestly, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is unacceptable. Maybe they did while I'm on the live stream, but I'm going to bet you they didn't. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want, check out the Web3 Secret Society. Lock it in before May 1st. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.